listening to The Review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your favorite college football podcast and ours. It's The Review, the online sports guys college football podcast where we talk about things college football related. And it's a little bit of a welcome back for us, guys. We have not been doing stuff in the off season.
I'm busy, damn it.
Yeah, mostly because we have like life things and other stuff like that. But the college football season never rests. There's always something going on, be it newsworthy, be it somebody trying to get themselves out of the news, headlines, all kinds of fun stuff like that. And we wanted to get started a little bit before the season did, just so we could kind of get everybody up to speed, kind of get ourselves up to speed, and talk a little bit about some of the off-season highlights over the course of the spring and early part of the summer. And I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in. Probably the biggest topic that got talked about most of the off-season once the college football championship game was over was the saga of Brendan Sorsby.
Oh, God.
For those of you who are unaware, and if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know what I'm talking about. Brendan Sorsby is the former quarterback who most recently played for the Cincinnati Bearcats over the 2024 or 24-25 season.
Sure.
He had a pretty good offseason and was very highly sought after in the transfer portal, landing at Texas Tech, who was willing to pony up quite a bit of money for his services, only to find out a short time later that Mr. Sorsby has been involved with a lot of gambling.
Yeah.
The saga continued when everything went to court. Sorsby got, and Texas Tech, I guess, really got a local judge to approve a waiver to allow him to play during the 2026 college football season, angering pretty much everybody not with the words Texas Tech after their name.
Yeah.
And only to, well, we'll start with that part, I guess, and then we'll kind of add on to it. Were you guys before, I almost forgot to introduce you. Brother John Fox, Brother John Nelson.
Hi.
Guys, did it disturb you as much as it disturbed me to find out that Texas Tech could just buy themselves a judge who would say, a local judge at that, who would just say, don't worry about the gambling, you can play?
Sly take.
I wouldn't say I was disturbed, but I was just curious to see if there were going to be any rules associated with college football going forward. Clearly, there are none when it comes to how much you can pay players, but shaking down local judges, et cetera. I mean, that's a whole different level of a deal to get a quarterback in.
I mean, to me, I viewed it as finding a friendly judge. I don't know if you were shaking anybody down.
Yeah.
And think about it. So the local judge, and literally he was a retired local judge. So he signs off on a temporary injunction basically 2 months ago. And then from there, you end up with Texas Tech and the NCAA going at it, Sorsby and the NCAA going at it, the Big 12-18 and Texas Tech going at it, and then you end up with eventually Sorsby and the Shield going at it. So you end up with you end up with a progression thanks to a retired judge. But and I mean, honestly, you're in a situation like this. I mean, think about all of the other recent chances that student athletes and or college administrations wanted to try and challenge something. You go and find a friendly judge. And, it's like, Your Honor, here, this young man is being aggrieved in insert topic here. Oh, we can't have that now, can we? You sign that, good luck with your future endeavors. And so it's signed off on. And then you end up with all of this going on. And at its base, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, at its base, you're not supposed to gamble while you're a student athlete.
Especially when you're gambling on your own team.
Yeah. And so, or athlete student, maybe in this case. But you're looking at all of these things, one of them being the biggest no-no of them all. I'm on a roster. Hey, you know what? I think I'm going to take some of my discretionary income and discuss the futures and successes and margins of same with an enterprising gentleman over off to the side and wager or just, have a monetary conversation with this gentleman about said future and said relationships about what's going on. Last time I checked, that's something you ain't supposed to do. And then you go into court because you feel like you're being aggrieved from your, future economic successes because of something that you weren't supposed to do.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's wrong.
I mean, am I missing something here in this pathway? Am I off track here anywhere?
John Fox.
You're not off track. It's just whether they could get away with it or not. And so I think we got our answer.
It only took 4 separate lawsuits and 4 separate appearances in court to make it happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The part of it that just stunned me is if you look at pretty much any other sport where the word gambling or betting on teams is involved, the people who did it have been completely disassociated and not allowed to compete, be mentioned, named, or anything else related to that sport ever since.
Heroes.
I mean, what is the difference? Really, if you think about it, what's the difference between what he did and Pete Rose? And at the end of the day, you did something wrong. There has to be some sort of punishment for it.
Well, I mean,
right or wrong, whether you like it or not is a different issue, but you just can't commit a crime. You can't do something that's illegal in the game and not expect somebody to say, no, we're going to have, you can't do that. There's a penalty to pay for that. Mm-hmm. Am I wrong?
I mean, you end up with the retired judge calling for an initial 2-game suspension, and that was a punishment that the legal team had initially offered to the NCAA as he did it. How about he sit for 2 games, and then he gets continued treatment for diagnoses and gambling and anxiety. Kansas State AD Gene Taylor, when the injunction was signed, I think that he ended up saying the proper words to this whole thing. And Phil, in the edit, you may have to bleep me or you may not. I will go ahead and warn you now. Gene Taylor called the injunction, quote, fucking bullshit. And everybody else in the Big 12, Georgia AD Josh Brooks, Nebraska AD formed their coaching staffs that they're not allowed to schedule games against Texas Tech. Could you imagine, say, like on Phil Steele's, or Lindy's preview, that it goes to print, you have this schedule, all of this stuff comes out over the latter part of the spring, and then you end up with, oh, you're not going to play them. Could you imagine what that Texas Tech page might look like if they had delayed printing for this moment? And it's like Texas Tech 2026 schedule and just a bunch of empty spaces. That would have been a magazine to buy and to keep and put in plastic forever.
I wonder how many calls Texas Tech is going to get in league play this year.
Oh boy, yeah. I don't quite think it's going to be the Michael Crabtree rules in this one, but it's just, Michigan cancels a volleyball match. Big Ten thought about doing the same thing, and what folks have to understand is, and this was the point made at the time by Taylor, it's not about Sorsby.
No.
It's the one thing you cannot do. You cannot have a athlete student on a roster that happens to take discretionary financial income and allegedly take that income and try and make it larger by having a discussion with an enterprising gentleman about activity that goes on involving the sport that you're in and the roster that you're on.
I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball to you guys here on a similar and related topic.
Okay.
How do you regulate? How do you control? How do you keep under wraps things like that when you've got a world where the Kalshis of the world, well, where Kalshi now exists, where you can start betting on individual plays, the opportunity to gamble or place bets on things that happen in any sport and really any facet of life now exists. And if you're a 20-year-old college student, how do you keep them away from that? I mean, it may be a little bit of a life question, but it fits what we're talking about here.
Guess you just have to convince them what the upside and downside are if you go down that path. I mean, that they are getting paid probably more than they would have at a summer job when we were in college. So, how much do you want your life to be altered by going down to that darkness? But it's going to be almost impossible to regulate every part of it.
Literally, I mean, Sly, unless you have someone who is a bank monitor, for lack of a better word, you literally are going to have an individual. You would have to have someone inside your NIL department or your financial department, the distribution arm or whatever you want to call it, for the money that you're receiving for attending that institution. Now, you're going to have someone sit there and monitor bank accounts. And so it would probably have to be something along the lines of, okay, we're going to put this money that is owed to you in an account that we can monitor. Because if we have direct deposit, which I imagine they do, then if we have direct deposit, we need to have access to your bank statement, or it's going to be our bank, in quotation marks. And we have to keep an eye on things. And then we also have the right, because we've signed you to this deal. And I just thought of this. Is in our industry, we have what is referred to, and it's not the only one that has it, but when you sign a contract, which is what I imagine these athlete students do to get this money, you sign a contract, and inside said contract is a morals clause.
Yeah, and it exists in the professional level for sports too.
So is this discretionary income that the individual can do with as they see fit, or is it something where if you are bound by our university standards for employment, then is this a violation of a morals clause, or do you just sit there and you go, nah, okay, yeah, it's your money, you can do with it whatever you want? You could go down that morals clause road, because if they sign that contract, then it's a violation of a morals clause. Then that NIL could probably be wiped off the table for doing something like this if you can equate investing and trying to increase your investment, betting on yourself. I'm thinking that, we probably helped out a lot of legal departments around the country by saying this now, but is this not a violation of a morals clause if these morals clauses are in fact in these contracts that these student athletes sign when they pair up with these institutions?
You probably hit on the two best ways to go about it if you're going to try to put some oversight on it. Monitor money movement and morals clause. That's probably as good a start as anyone could come up with, I would think.
Well, wow. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
That never happens on this show.
Yes, and roll this back a little bit towards the Sorsby adventure.
Sure.
All this, doing something like that, while a great idea, would require schools to have the backbone and willingness to do it when you have, in this case, Sorsby, a guy who could have been the quarterback to get you into that national championship game. is a college football program like a Texas Tech, who seems to be willing to do pretty much whatever they can do to get themselves that national championship opportunity, going to be willing to step up and say, nope, we had one of our guys do something bad. He may be our best quarterback and the guy who's going to lead us to that championship, but because we're taking the moral high ground here, we're going to suspend him and not let him play.
No, you're looking at repeated 8-figure paydays
Mm-hmm.
if you're going that deep into the season for this. The president of the university, Lawrence Chauvinek, said, quote, Brendan himself has been open about his struggle with severe gambling addiction. We believe his vulnerability deserves to be met with the full weight of this institution's support. How about no? How about well, what I mean by that is show your support for someone who has an addiction issue. That is
Yeah,
that
get
is
him the help he needs while he's not playing football.
and not betting on the teams that he's on. It goes back to the original issue. You're doing something you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to bet on your own. You're not supposed to bet, period. You're not supposed to bet on your own, subsection 2. And you're not supposed to challenge it. You're doing something you're not supposed to do on multiple levels. But at the same time, we can appreciate that you have come forward and have agreed publicly that you have an addiction issue. Fine.
There still has to be punishment or a penalty involved because you, at the end of the day, you broke a rule.
The whole idea of no, you're not supposed to do it, and you went and did it anyway. So you violated a rule or several, probably within the purview of the NCAA. You went and did it. You weren't supposed to do it. Now you've got to pay a consequence for it. What does this say about consequence involving college athletics if you do not enforce things equally across the board about doing something on multiple fronts you're not supposed to do?
Essentially, it's like one of us driving our car at 150 miles an hour on the interstate, causing a crash that kills 5 people, and the state trooper that comes to you, talk to you after the incident says, well, I'm just going to give you a warning.
Don't you do that. Okay. Where's the consequence? Where's the lesson? Where's the consequence in this? I get it. I am not, look, full disclosure. I have not had a drop of alcohol since New Year's Day 1990. Have not. I understand I have an issue, and it is not an issue that goes away. Anyone with any kind of an addiction issue, it does not go away. You do something that you're not supposed to do to the danger, really, of those around you, because it's not just a one-on-one relationship here. It's not you and the gentleman that you're trying to sit there and say, yes, please try and increase the amount of money that I'm giving you over this decision that I'm making. You're impacting the lives of hundreds of others that you're a part of with your decision making. You need to be removed from the ability to make that decision
until you've earned the right to do it again
and have your issues, your addiction issue treated. You have to better yourself, and sometimes to do that, you have to pull yourself away from that is the problem, and anything that can be impacted by the problem. That's where I'm getting at here with a larger thought. You got to treat yourself first. And this is a continual process for any individual with any addiction issue. Oh, you're a recovering. No. Anybody who says you're a recovering addict, I appreciate where you're coming from with this. It is always a present participle. It is never a recovered addict. It is never a past tense thing that you're fighting. Brendan Sorsby, by his own admission, has this issue. He will have this issue for 275 years. He will always be recovering And sometimes to recover as best you can, you have to remove yourself or have others remove you from the situation that causes the addiction. And you have a lot of others who, in this particular situation, want to enable him and encourage him
for their own benefit
to continue and improve the lot of others that you are impacting by negative decision making already. And you're trying to sit there and say, okay, the negative decisions, we understand you've made them in the past. You're cool. But how much of the impact are these adults going to have in the room to help him with his addiction going forward? That to me is second point in all of this, is like 2D, I guess, was where I am right now. Who's going to help Sorsby going forward when the end of his, the end of his athletic endeavors, and he wants to go and be the best damn widget salesman he can be, wherever that is? Who's going to help him after his athletic days are done? Who's going to monitor him and be there with him to help him and lift him up when he's having, and when he's staring at that issue that he's having adults help him with now in a financial sense? Who's going to be with him 15, 20 years down the line when he's just an adult, not having to do anything with athletic performance? And he has this issue that is going to be with you. Addiction does not sit there and it's like, it's 5:30. I think I'm done. No, it doesn't work that way.
There is a good outcome here, though.
We hope.
The story kind of, from that point, took a little bit of a twist when, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks after that judge's decision, Sorsby decided to remove himself from the Texas Tech roster and make himself eligible for the NFL supplemental draft.
And they were like, nah.
And I was going to say the second part of that being the NFL saying, well, we appreciate the thought, but we're not doing a supplemental draft for you.
Yeah.
Which basically leaves him where he probably should have been in the first place, and that's not playing football in 2026.
But I would anticipate also that you are probably going to have a restraint of trade or something. So the personal equivalent therein.
So far we haven't.
But you've got to figure out, okay, well, you're denying me the opportunity to further my job. I'll phrase it that way. You're keeping me from doing my job that I know I can do. And so you're going to end up with something akin to a restraint of trade. And it's going to be that the only folks that are going to make any money on this are going to be the lawyers. But we'll see where it goes. I'm concerned about Sorsby, the person, going forward. All of this legal mumbo jumbo is great. And, various and sundry sections of college athletics and professional athletics making a stand is great. Because the last thing you need is a college football version of Pete Rose.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how Sorsby, the person, is going to be navigating all of this when all of this finally does quiet down, which I imagine it won't for quite some time.
Actually, it kind of has. We haven't heard that.
All I sense is folks on the hourly going like this and trying to figure out what to do. This is, you're lying in wait until a moment when you think you can pounce and try and sit there and have the biggest splash for your idea.
We're running out of time pretty quickly here because we're already.
I know. I have taken us down a rabbit hole that I'm
not even talking about that. I'm talking about for him, as we're 3 weeks out from the start of the regular season and training camp's already open. He's not there. Texas Tech is going another route, another direction with the quarterback. He's maybe getting his stuff dealt with. I don't really know. And the possibility exists, the way things have played themselves out, that he may not ever play football again.
Focus on
Is that the worst thing in the world? It remains to be seen.
What do you do with your life if it's pulled away from you, in quotation marks? What do you do with your future now? What do you want to do? You have a wide open highway as to what you want to do with the rest of your life. What do you want to do?
There is opportunity there. There is the ability to get yourself right. There is the ability to be successful in whatever career path you want to choose for yourself. Um, I'm very interested to see where this is going to end up. I hope nothing but the best for the guy.
Absolutely.
Guys, I think we're probably about at the halfway point here. So when we come back here in the second half of the show, I want to talk a little bit about college football playoff expansion and politicians involved with the way things are playing out because of realignment and other little issues like that. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that here in the second half of the review. And for those of you not aware, you are listening to the review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Please like and subscribe. Over here in the OSG Sports side of things, we talk football. FOOTBALL. College football version here with the college football review every single week. But for those of you that like not just football with two O's, but football with a U, FUTBOL, there's the Soccer Down Here Network. I'm John Nelson. I host the morning show on Soccer Down Here along with Jarrett Smith, Nick Alifi, Jason Longshore. And if you're looking for the best information when it comes to the world of soccer, based in the southeastern United States, but we don't leave anything off the table. 9:05 Eastern time until 11 whenever. Sometimes we go for a while. SDH Network morning show, soccer's morning show, Monday through Friday, plus all the live events we do. It is your place and your source for soccer that is based in the Southeast, but covers everything on the world. SoccerDownHere.net, the Soccer Down Here app, available iOS and Android through our friends at Spreaker. That's like speaker with an R in the middle. Spreaker, do a search for OSG Sports. Do a search for Soccer Down Here. All the soccer content all in one place. It is the SDH Network and Soccer Down Here.
Thanks for sticking around, everybody. You have made it to the second half of the show.
Some of us have,
We are going to get to the point where we talk about previewing the upcoming college football season, but that's an episode for another weekend. Right now, we just want to talk about some of the news and noteworthy things that have happened over the last few months, because some of it's going to impact the way the season plays out. Some of it's going to impact the way the next few seasons play out. Probably the biggest one being the discussion about expanding the college football playoff. 12 teams doesn't seem to be enough now, guys.
No.
I wonder why.
Well,
Really?
well, if you just do the math, if you have a group of 6, Notre Dame, who's not going to be allowed to be out this year, that leaves really 6 at-large spots for 4 conferences.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC thinks they deserve all of them.
As does the big 10, 12, 18.
Right. So we can already pretty much guess that there are going to be several high-profile programs that are going to be upset that they're not in, just based on the math involved. So it just seems to make sense to expand it, just so more people can be upset when they're the 25th team. And so,
well, the bigger question on that is it 16 teams or is it 24 teams?
Yes.
The SEC wants it to be 24.
Once again, it's a greater opportunity percentage slide for an entire conference to get most of their folks in.
Right. I look at it like if when Atlanta was expanding 75 and 85 and was growing, just build more lanes. Don't build one and then build another one. Just build them all for anticipate the traffic. So why not 24?
It's just mind-boggling to me to think that less than 10 years ago, we were talking about a college football playoff with 4 teams, and we were, oh my God. And now we're talking about 24 teams.
But I mean, look, we had the same discussion in the summer over the expansion of the World Cup grid to 48. Everybody was going, "Oh no, 48, that's too many. That you're going to have a lot of blowouts, this and that and the other thing." And now when you see hold your beer. When you have a 48 team tournament that gives you more games for your broadcast partner to gain more television inventory for your advertisers, which gives you hydration breaks, which gives you more internal opportunities to find more sponsors and gain 9 figures to the left of the decimal place. Gee, I wonder why we're expanding the field of the CFP. Who knew? Who knew that having more television inventory would give you more opportunities to make more revenue because you'd have more advertising spots available? I'm stunned, nay, shocked at this revelation that folks seem to be having with these they're television programs. They are mini series, people. This is Shogun. This is Thornbirds. This is
Big business.
This is
The
Dynasty.
Winds of War.
It is the Winds of War from Herman Wouk. This is what this is. It is a living, breathing mini series. It is reality television that you get in 3.5-hour chunks after and after and after itself. It is television that literally can write itself for you. And the more episodes you give a television network of a popular show, are you going to sit there and go, nah, we don't want that? No, that's not how this works.
Well, let me pose this question to both of you guys.
Sure.
Are we talking about the right thing to do here? Or are we talking about the college or the NCAA? Well, it's not really the NCAA, it's the college football playoff. Are we talking about them doing what NASCAR kind of did a few years back when they all of a sudden were on the verge of just going and being everywhere all the time and overexposing yourself
Careful.
with college football? I'm not going to be careful there because that's really what it is.
I don't want you overexposing anything, sir.
And all of a sudden, we've got too much.
Depends on your definition of what the right thing to do is.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those World Cup games in the round of 32 were epic. I mean, adding a round didn't detract from the product at all from my vantage point. I don't, and it would seem like with the expansion to 12 that some of the most fun games are those held on the campuses. Maybe if you have another round on the campuses, that even makes it more cool. To your direct question, no, I don't think it dilutes the product going to 24.
I still think that, when you figure out, and I think that the World Cup, I think when you go to 64, I think that's it. As long as you don't have any games Tuesday and Dayton, I think you'll be okay. But I think that you're looking at an expansion. You're still trying to find out what your max is.
Mm.
And I think that that's where the CFP is working right now is what's my max? And the trickle down effect of this is, for me, the bowl structure. Because if you unless you integrate the bowl structure further into the CFP like we have now, like
bowls as we know it from when we were kids, they're done. It's just a matter of when.
Well, but if you continue to integrate them, because once again, if we treat them as television programs and live locations, then what we've seen from the CFP with all of the New Year's games, I think that you bring in the larger games that can basically sit there and say, yeah, we can give you home site revenue and we can do this. I think that you'll get the early games on home sites. Then you'll still have your group of 5. You'll still have your Go 5 bowl games and your lesser bowl games. But then you get into the larger ones, the more experienced ones. Those will be where the expanded field of 24 gets their action, will be on the Gator, the Outback, that kind of a thing that we're used to seeing. I think that's where they come into play because of their experience on the revenue that they feel that they can sit there and promise to the CFP. Then you'll have all of your other lesser ones. They're still going to have their own little bit, but I think that the field of 24 is going to integrate with all of our experienced bowl games because you know that you can fill those seats. 24 should be the max, I'm fairly certain. Unless you just want to go 128 or however many there are, and then you're fine.
It shows me a couple of things, and I don't know how you differentiate it, but one of the things I've argued for years is the college football system of ranking teams and putting them in polls to determine who's the best team and who's not is absolutely moronic. It always has been. There's recency bias.
Being a moron hasn't stopped anybody from doing something.
No, it's been the system that we've had for over 100 years.
Sure.
And it hasn't really changed that much. The change has been at the back end and only over really within the last decade or so.
Mm-hmm.
The question becomes, how do you schedule all of this over the course of a college football season that runs right now from the beginning of September until the week after Thanksgiving?
I still think that all you need to do is consult your friends in the FCS Division II and Division III. We can catch up with our friends at John Carroll. They could tell you about that.
Right. And what's going to end up happening if we do go to 24 teams is you're going to see the end of the college football conference championships. The only people who are going to be upset about that are conference commissioners. That's a lot of money for them to give up. But on the other end of it, they're going to make that money back tenfold with the expanded playoff.
I mean, that is the end play in all of this. You expand a field, you expand the opportunity for revenue, and then Sly, you figure out, well, I want mine. How am I getting mine? And how am I getting mine is always the question folks have to answer.
Yeah, I would imagine they could make the numbers work out so that losing a conference championship game wouldn't hurt too much. I know the Big Ten really doesn't care about having one ultimately, so it's doable.
It was interesting. I read a quote from Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, who said that conference championship game is $80 million in our pocket. You're going to have to convince me of a good reason to give that up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be that hard.
No.
The more teams that you get into said playoff, I think the more that you're going to sit there and it's like Gilbert Gottfried and the parking ticket in Beverly Hills Cop. It's like I've got this over here, and then what's this over here in my other hand? Literally, that's what that is.
Well, if the SEC is going to go around saying they have the deepest conference in the country, then expanding to 24, I mean, shouldn't hurt their cause if they're going to get in 10 teams into the tournament. I would imagine the numbers would work out just fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only part of it that really, really scares me. We want a playoff where we have 8 SEC, 8 Big Ten teams in it, and then 8 other teams from the rest of the college football world.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't be watching it more just because of that, but that's what you want to. The folks with the biggest house on the biggest side of town, and they've got all of the fancy toys and everything. Yes, that's going to be in that subdivision when you get to the field.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the same. You could almost sit there right now off the top of your head and reel off the list of teams that are going to be on that list that are going to be in the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
You can pretty much etch it in stone almost every season.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be pretty much the same conferences, just maybe a slight shuffling of where they are in a rankings perspective. But yes, it's going to be the same batch of folks.
Mm-hmm. And that to me kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it, but that's just a personal opinion.
Yeah, but because it is a long watched program, it's like ER at this point. You're in like season 12, 13, 14, and 15. Because you watched ER, you kind of go through the cast changes and you understand where it is, and you still are a fan of ER.
But John Fox, what about jumping the shark?
I mean, as long as they're still making money, I don't. They'll cross that bridge when they get to it. It might turn into the Big Ten SEC Challenge to some extent, but They'll be. I don't see this miniseries being canceled in our lifetime. So even if they do jump the shark, I don't.
Look,
I don't think they really care that much.
I mean, Sly, look, Fonzie's going to clear it in front of Arnold's and everything's going to be good.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll throw this out there too. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds in this part of it, but broadcast networks have money, but they don't have an infinite supply of said money.
No, but you have new players and the streaming services are trying to figure out ways that they can get into the game. And if it is a big ticket item and you want to get if you want to get that big ticket item, then you draw folks to your streaming service. So keep an eye on the streaming services that we're used to seeing with the occasional sports property. Someone's going to make a dive into the CFP, guaranteed. It's going to be an atypical broadcast partner, and they're going to chase after it.
Well, they're already chasing after it.
I mean, look at all the network, or just to watch an NFL game, all the different services that are involved. I imagine that's the direction it would go.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree.
Which kind of rolls me into the back half of the topic here. Because of all of that, people are complaining to their politicians that they can't find their preferred sport anymore because it's been so diluted that a different games from a different team is on a different channel on a different night pretty much every week now. And they've gotten involved with it. They've been trying to legislate some of it. And one of the things out there right now is the sports proposal that's out there in front of Congress that would control the amount of teams that go into a particular conference.
Good luck.
Yeah. But there's enough support for that it very well may happen.
Well, isn't there a codicil in the bill that says you have, wait a second, how many days is it? That once the bill is enacted, that you have X number of days without penalty that you can conference hop.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sounds vaguely like the transfer portal.
I mean, let me see if I can find it here. Hang on. Where is it?
When the Big Ten's at 18, how much? What number would be the cap?
The cap that I read was 19.
Okay.
Oh, wait, one more. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame.
Yep.
Oh man, it's stop. Come on.
These are the things that are being talked about during the off season.
Oh, I know. I mean, you got folks that are sitting there and they're worried about friggin' ticket prices and all this kind of stuff, and it's just like, okay, so per the amendment, 3 more amendments were filed to the Protect College Sports Act, all from Senator Ashley Moody. One creates an exception in the expansion provision to permit P4 schools to move conferences without the 5-year probationary period. 2 of Senator Moody's schools are the University of Coral Gables and Florida State University. Per the amendment, if a power league school wants to move to another power conference, the school can avoid the 5-year probationary period if it withdraws from its league within 180 days of the bill's enactment.
Not much mystery there.
No. And obviously, multiple ACC schools, according to Ross Dellinger, are against the provision, lobbied against their changes to it. But 2 of the schools for Senator Moody are in Coral Gables and Tallahassee. What have they wanted to do recently? Leave.
Yeah. Might as well just flat out call it the Miami and Florida State bill.
No, I can't be associated with anything from Coral Gables. I can't have them.
Yeah, there is some irony in the 2 of them actually being involved in potentially that kind of a thing.
I just know. But if I ever, when this comes to pass, if I ever see a photo with the 2 powered individuals that they choose from each institution, if their arms are around each other or they're doing the other's call sign, I'm out.
Oh no.
Mm-mm.
I think that's against the law.
It is. But because they're such great partners economically, if you were to see the individual from Tallahassee try to extend a hand forward looking like the mitten from Michigan with an extended thumb at 90 degrees, or if you had the individual from Coral Gables trying to sit there and stand next to a mountain and chop it down with the edge of his hand, no, we're done.
Yeah, I have a suspicion that a conversation would be more like, don't interpret this as us being friends. It's just mutually beneficial.
Yeah, we are economic bedfellows. And the PCSA, by the way, failed to reach a vote in the Senate, and it got pushed to September. So it won't make it through this college football season, but it sure could go when it gets to September. And any other kind of a Senate vote, keep an eye on it. Bookmark this space.
You guys got anything else you want to talk about here before we kind of wrap things up?
We got like 98 topics to get into, and if we get into another one, I go another 25 minutes, and the two of you strangle me. So I don't know if that's necessarily the way that we go.
Yeah, you can kind of blame that a little bit on me. I do tend to egg you on a little bit.
No,
I'll throw in one thing probably that we'll talk about before the season starts, since you brought up the playoff. What's the expectation for each school going into the season, because there are only so many spots, and if it's playoff or bust, there are only so many. There's some that are going to be left out. What happens if you have that expectation and it misses in these respective spots?
Kids transfer, coaches get fired, ADs get mad.
Yeah, that's kind of the short answer to that question, but the longer answer to it, we will get into here in upcoming weeks, as we still have a couple of weeks to go before week 0 in the world of college football. So make sure you keep an eye out for the next show.
Don't play in Ireland. Don't play in Ireland.
You're talking over me, John.
I don't care. Don't play in Ireland.
We will get into exactly what Mr. Fox just talked about as we progress through our preseason discussions. Tune in next week for some college football previews and a look at who's going to be in, who may be out, who can you expect to see when it comes championship time. For Brother John Nelson, for Brother John Fox, I am Brother Phil. We are the Online Sports Guys. Thank you for listening, everybody, and we will hopefully see you again next week.
Please like and subscribe.
You are listening to The Review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.